Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Welcome to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. And we're continuing on with my series on my book, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation. And today I'm talking about the sixth foundational element. But before we talk about that, let's give you a recap as always, help you build this 10-layered pyramid of transformation from the ground up. And we building it on our values. But the first foundational layer is thought. Thought becomes a foundation of choice. Second foundational layer is that choice. Choice is the foundation of vision. That's one choice you can make, is to choose a vision, is what I'm saying. And then the third foundational layer is vision. That vision becomes a foundation of hope. Hope, being the fourth layer, is the foundation of sacrifice. And then sacrifice is the fifth layer, and it becomes the foundation of discipline. And that's where we are today. We're talking about the sixth layer of the foundation relative to personal transformation. And discipline is the foundation of growth. So your values led to your thoughts, which led to your choices, which one of those is to create a vision. That vision gives you hope. Hope causes you to sacrifice. And that sacrifice creates the space to develop discipline. And when you actually carry through and develop discipline within, that leads to positive growth. What kind of growth? It goes back to your vision. Growth toward achieving your vision. That's why these things all stack up. This thought process, this mental roadmap. It all goes back to your vision, but again, that starts back with making a choice in your thoughts and your values. So discipline is the foundation of growth. I want to start off with a quote here from John Maxwell. He says, when it comes to self-discipline, people choose one of two things. Either they choose the pain of discipline, which comes from sacrificing growth, or they choose the pain of regret, which comes from taking the easy road and missing opportunities. Pretty powerful quote. You may want to hit rewind and catch that one again. But I know I always used to hear, and Les Brown, when I used to go hear him speak a lot, one thing I always love to hear him say is, in life, if you do what's easy, life's going to be hard. But if you do what's hard, life is going to be easy. See, if your life is hard right now, I can guarantee you've been doing a lot of easy things. If your life's hard, I don't even have to know you. It's a principle. If your life's hard, whatever that means, you've been doing a lot of easy things. Now, you may want to look out the window and blame a lot of other people, but I'm going to tell you, it ain't their fault. But if your life's easy, I promise you the same thing. You've done a lot of hard things. You made a lot of hard choices. You have a lot of discipline in your life. A lot of people don't want to look in that mirror and accept the truth. You see, the face we see least is our own. But discipline is the foundation of positive growth. Again, relative to your vision. You must do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. And again, it's traced back to your vision. That's why these layers keep stepping up and building up. It really is a mental roadmap a way of thinking. It's not a physical roadmap. If you go by the book, there's not a page that folds out and there's a map on it. It's a way of thinking, a mindset. But when you take the right steps toward your vision, discipline will allow you to convert your sacrifice into growth. And growth is about reaching and stretching. And all of our growth comes outside of our comfort zone. It's almost, if you study a lot and read a lot about leadership, everybody says that, but it's the truth. Because if you're comfortable, you're not growing. That's why you're comfortable. And John Maxwell also speaks about the law of the rubber band. He speaks about it and writes about it. And he says, people are like rubber bands. We are only adding value when we are being stretched. So discipline causes you to stretch yourself. Henry David Thoreau said this: the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Pretty sure I shared that with you last episode. But it's the truth. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. And discipline is the catalyst for growth. It takes discipline. Think about it, physical growth. If you literally want to build muscle, you got to have the discipline to do the work. You got to go to the gym, or somewhere you've got to lift weights, or you got to do push-ups. You got to do something. You got to have the discipline to actually work your body in a stressful, strenuous kind of way. Discipline is the catalyst for growth. Same thing with your mind. It's why I read every day. Literally every day since 2008, I've been reading. Leadership development, personal growth book. I read a lot of other stuff too, but I don't even count that really. But I read a lot of other stuff beyond that. But I read this stuff every day. So 2008. We're in the year 12, or I'm in the year 12. That's discipline. That's an example. How did I get where I'm at today compared to where I was 2008 when I ain't never heard of this stuff? Discipline. It's the foundation for growth. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? What kind of discipline do you have? Are you studying about it every day? Are you reading about it? It may not be this stuff, but I'm going to tell you, you need this stuff to launch and leverage the other stuff. Whatever it is, your competency, whatever it is you may want to do. You may be wanting to be some type of amazing welder. You need to be reading, studying, and learning about welding. If you're not passionate about it. It's just a job. Because the only way you're going to read and study about something every day, like I do with leadership development and personal growth, is because I'm passionate about it. You tell me to read about a lot of other junk, I ain't reading about that other stuff. I could care less about the other stuff. Somebody hired me to do a job I didn't want to do. I ain't going to study and read and learn about that job and excel at it. I don't care about that. You may be in that situation. You got to use these principles I'm teaching you. Figure out how to have the discipline, develop the discipline to move yourself in that direction. Whatever you're passionate about, start reading about it, studying about it. When you talk to people who have influence in that area, you're going to impress them with your knowledge. And if you've gotten results in that area, you can impress them with your results. Jim Rohn said this: the pain of discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. I love that quote by him. But again, discipline is the catalyst for growth. So as you progress from knowing what to do and begin doing what should be done, you are crossing the bridge called discipline. And discipline allows you to turn your dreams, goals, and vision into reality. So your potential is your reality. all you're doing is converting it from what's inside of you to what's outside of you. You're taking what's inside of you and putting it on the outside. But you got to do the work. Most people won't do the work. Again, giving disciplines, giving yourself a command and following through with it. It's building personal trust. But your actions always reveal your values. I'll tell you a small thing, and I mean, it's a big thing to me, but most people throw this around like nothing. And it's really such a tiny thing. I almost didn't even share it right here. But this is a simple, tiny example of discipline that reveals somebody's character. And I have people do this to me all the time. Once a week at least. And if I was the old Mac, a lot of those people, I'd never talk to them again. But I give people benefit of the doubt these days. I don't like to do it. And if they're a stranger that I haven't met before and they do this to me, I may not ever talk to them again. But what I'm talking about right here, relative to your action, always revealing your values, is people. I have people tell me they'll call me back for whatever reason. Or they'll call me. But mostly it's call me back. I'm talking to somebody and something pops up, or somebody walks in the room, or somebody calls them and they need to take another call, and they say, I'll call you back. And I'm the kind of person, when I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So when somebody says they're going to call me back, regardless of what I'm doing, in my mind, I'm kind of pay attention to my phone. So, if they told me they're going to call me back and they're actually going to call me back, well, I want to do my part and be available to them. Some people don't care about that either, but I do. So when somebody tells me they're going to call me back, now they get to either build trust or create distrust. And a lot of people, they say, I'm going to call you back. I don't hear from them for days or weeks, sometimes longer than that. Because most of the time when I hear that from somebody, if they don't call me back, I don't call them back. Because they're revealing their character to me. If you're telling somebody you're going to call them back, you need to have the discipline and value those people's time, mostly value your word. If you're not going to call them back, just say, we'll catch up later. That's a lot different than I'm going to call you back. We can talk about this another time. But if you say I'm going to call somebody back, have the discipline to call them back, or either have the discipline not to say it, one of the two. But anyway, that's just a little example. And I talked about this a little bit last time. But again, discipline leverages your sacrifice. The greater the discipline, the greater the reward. Thomas Jefferson said this: nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goals. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. So nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goals, and nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. And this entire book, this entire series is all about helping you develop the right mental attitude to launch yourself like a rocket. But you got to do the work. I can't say it enough. We're in the discipline level right here, and that's where you have to do the work. So the key to moving beyond average is doing what exceptional people do, not wanting what they have. Everybody wants what they have. But when you see others doing what you want to be doing, the question you must answer is not, do I want to be doing what they are doing? But rather, do I want to do what they had to do to get to do what they're doing? So your answer to the first question communicates you have an interest in doing it. But your answer to the second question communicates whether you will have a chance to do it. If you're willing to do the work that others have already done to get to do what they're doing, then you've got a chance. But if you just want what they've got, good chance not going to happen. Remember wishing and wondering from the past episodes? It ain't going to get you very far. So deciding to do something and paying the price to actually get to do it are two very different things. Deciding to do something doesn't require sacrifice. You can decide to do whatever you want to do. You can decide to buy this book, but you ain't bought it yet. You ain't spent a single penny. And you definitely ain't read it. However, paying the price to do something will require sacrifice. And again, sacrifice is the foundation for discipline. Discipline is the foundation for growth. You're probably starting to see how all these things start to kind of stack up and lead to the other. But it's continuous. Remember, sacrifice is giving up something. The amount of discipline you develop will determine the value you are able to leverage from your sacrifice. For example, think about this. If you decide to enroll in a college class or attend some type of development seminar, the sacrifice will be the money and the time. But you are sacrificing your money to grow and develop yourself. You'll not be able to use it for anything else. That money that you spent to go to take a college class or go to a seminar or whatever you're doing, you can't use it for anything else. It's gone. It won't be available for dining out or to put toward a weekend getaway. It's gone. And the time you invest in attending that class or that seminar can't be used to do anything else. It's gone. But the sacrifice only creates an opportunity for growth. It does not create the growth. Only discipline will create growth and allow you to make the additional sacrifices of time necessary to study, to learn, and this is the key piece, to apply what you are learning. Discipline leverages sacrifice. It's a two-part formula, really. Sacrifice plus discipline equals growth. That's why you can't leave a layer behind. You got to keep stacking. You got to build that sacrifice layer, and you got to stack discipline on top of it, and then growth's coming. It's just a principle. It's what's going to happen, but you got to do it. The growth cycle must be repeated constantly. Kind of looks like this. Sacrifice something. Demonstrate discipline. Achieve growth. Sacrifice something. Demonstrate discipline. Achieve growth. Sacrifice something. Demonstrate discipline. Achieve growth. That's how it works. And I want to share with you something I mentioned in the last episode one more time because it still fits, and I want you to think about it. It's that question you need to learn to ask yourself. Will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? This is where this fits very big into sacrifice. It also fits very big into the discipline piece. Will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? Remember, that question is packed full of potential, and the question is important. The answer is more important, but your actions are most important. If it'll move you in the right direction, did you do it or did you not do it? Choice is yours. And I want to tell you this. It takes very little effort to stand out in today's society. You may have a huge, big vision, big goals, big dreams, but to actually stand out in our society today, it takes very little effort. It does take effort. It takes sacrifice and discipline and growth, but not much. And the reason is most people are doing almost nothing. Most people are doing the bare minimum. It doesn't matter what they've achieved. What's their potential? What could they have achieved in that amount of time with better choices? Most of the times it's something dramatically different. And when they run into those people who've actually made a lot better choices and have done things dramatically different, they're usually hoping and wishing they had their life. But I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter where you at. It's not that hard to get to the next level. It's kind of all relative. When you get to that level, a lot of people just going to coast. So when you want to get to the next level, it's not that hard again to get to the next level. The higher up you go climbing, the more space there is available to you because most people are not going to do it. I could never read another book and my income would keep growing and growing and growing the rest of my life. I don't have to read another book. I read them every day. I read every day. Not an entire book. Some days an entire book. But every day I read. I've got 13 published books. I promise I could not write another book and I'll be fine the rest of my life. But I'm going to write some more books. Probably a lot more books. But I don't have to. Every time I read, every time I write a book, every time I do a podcast episode, I'm putting out a little more effort and I'm elevating myself in my industry to another level. You can do the same exact thing with yourself in your industry. But you got to do it. I don't know how many times I said that in this episode, but we're talking about discipline, which means you got to do it. I remember reading that various surveys state the number, it's the same number, somewhere between 30 and 40% of high school and college students, both people who only graduated high school or people who also went to college and graduated. But only 30 to 40% of high school and college students, they've never read another book after graduation. 30 to 40% of high school and college students never read another book after graduation. Why? They lack discipline. They're coasting and resting on what they've already done. Yes, they're getting experience. Yes, they're getting on-job training. They may be doing all kinds of things. Some of them are doing hardly nothing unless it's required, though. Those who are doing nothing except what's required, it's so easy to leave those people behind. Even though they're not listening right now, because those people don't listen to this kind of podcast, we ain't going to talk bad about them. They just don't know what they don't know. If they're happy, it's fine what they're doing. But most of those people are not happy. Most of those people are moaning, groaning, and whining the loudest. Kind of makes sense. They're doing the least, so they moan, groan, and whine the loudest. So with discipline, those continuing to educate themselves intentionally by developing their specialized knowledge steadily and consistently increase their potential to do more, earn more, be more, and ultimately have more. And that's what we're talking about, specialized knowledge. You're not going to get specialized knowledge without becoming very, very intentional about growing and developing yourself in a specific area. No company that could have ever hired me could cause me to read and grow and develop myself like I am around my passion, my purpose, my potential within this leadership development industry. And see, the key to make myself effective with all this knowledge is I have to apply it. That's why I tell you, I'm not trying to impress you with all the things I've done, stopping drinking, stopping using profanity, becoming a Christian, reading every day, all that. I do all that to inspire you. If I'm going to teach you something, I need to be living it. That means having integrity, having good character. If I'm going to talk about character and integrity, guess what I need to be doing? I need to be having it. But that'll help you anywhere in life. But relative to your industry and your passion and your purpose, where it is you want to be, your vision, you develop specialized knowledge and you're going to be valuable. And if you hear me talk about leadership a lot of times I always say, don't focus on becoming more successful. Focus on becoming more valuable. Because if you become more valuable, I promise you're going to be more successful. But if you focus on becoming successful and you ain't focusing on becoming valuable, there's a good chance you're not going to be very successful. So I had to develop the discipline to invest in myself. You're doing it right now. I congratulate you. I'm proud of you. If you're listening and you've been listening to this podcast episode, especially if you've been listening to a lot and you've been reading other books or my books, listening to audio books, whatever it is you've been doing, you are so far ahead of the crowd. Just keep doing it. But for me, it was time to start living my life by design instead of by default. See, people who are only doing what's required, they're living life not by design, but by default. You design your life, you're going to get a lot out of it. Mr. Denard Ash. I met Denard a while back when we first moved up to Atlanta, and he wrote a book, and I got it and read it. And he says, there are 24 hours in a day. What will you do with yours? If you write, you will become an author. If you exercise, you will become an athlete. If you study, you will become an expert. Your life is a result of how you invest your time. He's talking about discipline. How are you going to invest your time? Everybody's got the same amount of time. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets 25. Everybody gets the same, 24. A lot of it comes down to confidence. A lot of what you read about in my leadership books, if you learn this mindset of transformation, then you go learn what's in my leadership books to help you grow and leverage and maximize your influence with yourself first and then with other people. You're going to launch like a rocket. But Eric Hoffer said this right here. He said, if you have too little confidence, you will think you can't learn. If you have too much, you will think you don't have to learn. And so you're not one of those people. That's what's awesome about you. Because if you had too little confidence, you think you can't learn. You wouldn't be listening right now. If you had too much confidence, if you thought you don't have to learn, you wouldn't be listening right now. So I'm here to tell you, you're in the perfect place relative to that principle. It's good stuff. I'm going to end with a quote from Napoleon Hill. These are Napoleon Hill's words. Successful people in all callings never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to their major purpose, business, or profession. Those who are not successful usually make the mistake of believing that the knowledge acquiring period ends when one finishes school. The truth is that formal education does but little more than to put one in the way of learning how to acquire practical knowledge. School, whether it's high school or college or some kind of technical program, all that's like the foundational layer. That's preparation to get you prepared to go learn. It's not the end. It is for some people, not for you. It's the beginning. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership Series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.